Welcome to the Capital News. I am your host, Alex Koritis. Today is Thursday, March 26, 2020. Thank you so much for joining me. Title of today's podcast, 96-0. No votes for America. Of course, yesterday we were talking about stimulus to the rescue, meaning that late in the evening prior to the start of yesterday's podcast, the U.S. Senate came through with a stimulus package of slightly over $2 trillion. That's just from Congress. Now remember, we were told by White House economic advisor Larry Kudlow that the total package, at least for right now, is going to be $6 trillion, $2 trillion from Congress, $4.5 trillion from the Federal Reserve. Of course, we talked about the Federal Reserve yesterday and their balance sheet, which now, even updated slightly further, I've come across some other readings on the Federal Reserve's balance sheet. It's now north of $5 trillion. It's now north of $5 trillion. Didn't take too long. Record high. The graph is straight up. It's vertical. So 96-0 was the vote in the U.S. Senate, and that's why we're talking about that today slightly. 96-0, no votes for America, because nobody in that chamber on either side of the aisle understands what they just did. If you want to have some sort of program, some sort of bill that passes to make sure that all of our hospitals are well staffed, fully equipped, that's fine. That's what should take place. It's a public health emergency. That's exactly what should take place. I don't think anybody would argue with that. Of course, we're way behind the eight ball on that, especially in our larger cities that are becoming overrun with patients who are infected with COVID-19. And of course, some of them need to be hospitalized. Some of them need to be in the IC units. This was all predictable. This was all well in the cards. And now, since we've started testing here in the United States, our numbers have now taken the number one spot. Now, I'm skeptical of this simply because I don't believe the numbers that came out of China. Just doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. It's just basic mathematics, okay? From the reporting that's out there, China knew about this back in November, right? You didn't see that draconian shutdown of the world's second largest economy really until January, right? So you're talking about, depending on what time it took, it started. They knew about this in November. We don't know exactly what date, at least I don't. A couple months, 3 months before they shut down their entire economy, or a significant portion of it. Doesn't that send a signal that something was wrong there? But here we are, finally starting to test after really having it in this country maybe a month and a half, couple months, right? And we've already surpassed the count in China, a country of 1.3 billion people. Worse yet, look at Italy, a country of 60 million. Their numbers top that of China. The United States has a population 5 times that of Italy. See what I'm saying here, folks? It doesn't make sense. You think somebody's lying? I think everybody's lying, to be perfectly honest with you, but there's no question that the Chinese Communist Party was most definitely lying to us about the severity of it, about what was truly going on. And if I was president of the United States, I would be adamant to know about what those real numbers are. I'd want to know what the hell took place. What's really going on over there? Now, I hope the president's at least doing that behind the scenes. Don't know, but I hope he is. Because this is ridiculous. I mean, you're talking in China, Wuhan, the epicenter, a city of 11 million people, in a country of 1.3 billion where people were traveling, especially during that time with the Chinese New Year and all that jazz, right? And you're going to tell us only 80,000 people contracted the virus? I don't think so, people. Wake up. Wake up. That's the problem with all of this. I think the markets are underpricing this risk as to what this could truly mean. Because there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it that the Chinese Communist Party lied to us. So if you want to say, okay, well, I expect Western governments to lie to us as well, meaning our government, the Italian government, any European government for that matter. but probably be a little bit more honest than the Chinese Communist Party. But here we are with those numbers, and that's not looking too good either. And we're really just starting to test here in the United States. So what do you think this number is going to turn into? Because we haven't peaked yet. By even some of the most optimistic models, it's not going to peak until some point next month. And at the rate of increase at which we're seeing, that's not good. Not good at all. So I hope you understand what's going on here. Market performance, well, the Dow, the S&P, the NASDAQ, the Russell 2000, the small cap index, they all took off like a rocket ship today, up 5-6% across the board. Because there was some good news out this morning. U.S. jobless claims jumped to record high. Oh, I didn't mean to say good news, but that's how the market seemed to interpret it. U.S. jobless claims jumped to record high. The number of Americans filing for unemployment benefits jumped to an all-time high of 3.28 million in the week ended March 21st. The highest level since the series began in 1967 and well above market expectations of 1 million. The 4-week moving average, which smooths out or removes some of the week-to-week volatility, also jumped to a record high of 1 million. So, with this terrible news kickstarting the morning, markets don't care. Are we back in that mode of bad news is good news again? Or is just simply some sort of recalibrating at the end of the month? A lot of hedge funds, pension funds, trying to recalibrate and rebalance their portfolios, maybe trying to come in, take advantage of some low prices. Who knows? Could this just simply be one of those massive bear market rallies, which of course would mean a big rally that we've seen over the past few days? Of course it could be. Could be any combination. It could be the fact that we have the idiots in Congress throwing an additional $2.2 trillion at this thing. It could be the idiots at the Federal Reserve throwing God only knows how many trillions at this. I mean, we don't know. We don't know how much they're actually throwing at this. But we know at least from the White House it's going to be at least $4 trillion. And at the rate they're going, their balance sheet's going to double probably within the next couple of months, which is just completely ridiculous. It's absurd. I mean, you can't even make this stuff up. I mean, you want to talk about a banana republic. Well, here it is. Here it is. That's why this title is 96-0. No votes for America. There's nothing here in this country anymore. There's no principle. There's no morals. There's no ethics. Nobody's standing up to anything of import. Remember, it's all the stupid little details. Oh, this guy's getting an extra $600 a week. Can't do that. Oh, somebody's trying to sneak something in there for Planned Parenthood. Oh, good, yeah. What about the $6 trillion? Does that bother you? No, obviously not. And most people, it's probably not going to bother. Why? Because they're going to get their Trump money here in a month or so. Write that $1,200 check. Praise the Lord. $1,200 just to keep everybody happy, right? That's all it is. That's all it is. It's just a shot of morphine. Sit on your rear end, don't complain. You got to check $1,200. And everybody's like, damn right. It's about time I get some of mine. Well, that's the problem with this country. It's all it is. It's all it is. Here, take your money, sit down, be good boys and girls, and let us run away with all of the loot. Let us continue this massive wealth transfer. Let us continue to run roughshod this idiotic, asinine, fraudulent monetary experiment that they are now doing to the nth degree. The pedal is to the metal, full throttle. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. One of the things I want to ask this audience, from time to time I ask you to do something, not for me necessarily, but for yourselves, hopefully as well. Last time I think I asked the audience to do something was to, change the channel. If you watch Fox, watch a little bit of MSNBC. If you watch MSNBC, turn on Fox. Get a little bit of different perspective here and there, okay? Read some things that if you always read the Wall Street Journal, go read the Washington Post and vice versa, right? Get some different perspectives out there. Go ultra-right, go ultra-left, cut it down the middle, look for some libertarian stuff, everything. Don't just stay focused and don't just stay in your silo, but focus on everything. But now, given what's taking place here with a vote of 96-0, I'm basically calling for a peaceful revolution, if you will. And this is how I'd like this to be handled, what I'd like for people to do out there. I don't care if you're a Republican or a Democrat. What I'd like for you to do is abandon your party. What I'd like for you to do is to change your party affiliation. If you're, I don't care, again, if you're a Republican, Democrat, change it to being an independent, a libertarian, a constitutionalist, unaffiliated. I don't care. Just abandon your party. Okay? Because if any of you think that somebody in the Republican Party or the Democratic Party has your back and has the best interests of the United States at heart, you need your head examined. Okay? If you've been paying attention to what's been going on, there is nobody left standing up for this country in either party. It's completely gone. It's completely gone. And if you honestly think that these two parties are different, you really need to take a hard look at that too. Because nobody was saying enough is enough. Nobody was saying we can't do this. I mean, Nancy Pelosi is ready for round 2. She's ready for round 2. And don't be surprised if it happens. Especially if these numbers associated with COVID-19 get worse, and then obviously the numbers within the economy get worse as well as a result. So don't be surprised if this is a couple checks coming your way of $1,200. And just wait till the inflation and the hyperinflation hit you, and then we'll see how long and how far those dollars get you. But pay no attention to that. Let's just worry about what's in front of us. Let's not worry about the results, the consequences. No. There is only one party in this country, ladies and gentlemen, and it's been ripping everybody off for generations. That's all it is. It's divide and conquer. The only difference is you get to hear what you want to hear from your respective side. That's all. That's all. If you believe in free market capitalism, low taxes, deregulation, then the Republicans are your home. But do they make good on that? No. No, they don't make good on all that stuff. And if they do, they don't balance the books. You got some tax cuts. Where'd they go? Mainly to corporations. How'd they pay for them? They didn't. They continued to increase spending. So now we have trillion-dollar deficits. Where are the fiscal conservatives on that one? Nowhere to be seen. And now they're ready to spend another $2 trillion and let the Fed go at it with $4 trillion at least. And it'll be more than that, don't worry. Democrats? Oh, you got to look out for the working guy. Everybody needs health care. Oh, I like that party. Yeah, I'm going to go to them. And then you get screwed from them too. There's no difference. It's divide and conquer. It's just what you want to hear. Again, it's just a release valve. That's all it is. It's a mirage of actually having some sort of choice. That's all. You get too far on one side of the boat, well, then you got to rock it back to the other side. That's all. 8 years of Clinton, 8 years of Bush, 8 years of Obama, and what happens with Trump? That's all it is. Back and forth, trillion-dollar deficits, $23.5 trillion in national debt, $100 trillion plus of unfunded liabilities, endless wars, president after president, trade deals that screw us back and forth no matter who's at the helm. And now this. More bailouts for the banks, more bailouts for corporate America that squandered their resources and is bringing everybody down with the ship. Now, of course, you have your small businesses and mid-sized businesses who are going to take a hit. A lot of them are going to go under. Even during the daily press conference for COVID-19, the president even acknowledged when asked the question about restaurants. Yeah, a lot of them will go out of business. But a lot of them will come back with different ownership, most likely. I don't think that gives a lot of comfort to those restaurateurs out there. 3.3 million people filing for unemployment. So what good is this $2.2 trillion monstrosity of a stimulus bill? Wasn't this supposed to keep people employed? A little too late, right? And this was for last week. So how many more have been laid off this week, right? So this is a moving train. This is a moving target. All right, even though there's stimulus, what are they going to do? Because a lot of the strings attached to some of these loans, which my understanding, some of them at least, maybe all of them, can be forgiven if these businesses do not lay off any employees. So the string is attached to make a government statistic, a data point, the unemployment figure, look better than it otherwise would be. Let's not worry about the best interest of the actual business, right? It's somebody's business. But here, if you're going to take this money, there's strings attached to it. You know, this is funny because they're doing this to the small and mid-sized businesses, right? They didn't do this to Wall Street a decade ago. Put strings to it. Well, you can't get bonuses. You can't do this. You can't do that. Oh, no. Remember that? The concern was, my God, if we put strings attached to TARP or any other type of bailout, they're not going to agree to it. The major Wall Street banks that brought the economy to its knees a decade ago wouldn't come to the table, wouldn't agree to it, wouldn't agree to the bailout if there were strings attached. But if you're a small business or a mid-sized business, oh yeah, there's strings attached, pal. There's strings attached. There's no cost-cutting efforts here. You got to maintain all those people on your payroll, whether or not you need them. Whether or not you need them. How does the government know what these business leaders, no matter the size of the company, what their decisions are, what their operating expenses are? Doesn't matter. It's just a blanket. Here, strings attached. This is why you can't even get involved, because you end up playing these games of back and forth. Do I put strings attached? I mean, I got to be a fiduciary with taxpayer dollars, so there should be strings attached. But then I'm telling a business how to operate. Does that really sound like America? Does that sound like free market capitalism to you? See what's going on here? That's why you just don't do it. Because these are the choices you have to make. And who is the government to make these choices? Because if they're going to come in and tell you how to run your business, which they already do a good deal of that anyway, then it's not your business. So a lot of these entrepreneurs who may have been in some sort of cost-cutting effort anyway, prior to this, now if they're going to get some sort of bailout or assistance or a loan from us, then they have to maintain everybody on payroll. I don't like it. I understand what the government's trying to do, but they're trying to make their numbers look better. So they can come out and say, jobs, jobs, jobs. See, everything's okay. Everybody's still employed. Nothing to worry about. Jobs, jobs, jobs. That's all it is. It's all a facade. Just make it look pretty. Just make it look good. Make it smell like it's going to be tasty. That's all. Don't worry about the structural underlying issues that have caused what we're in the midst of and going to be going through for quite a while. Of course, I could be wrong. Maybe printing $4, $5, $6 trillion will do the trick. Maybe it'll do it. I don't think that's going to happen. And I have a pretty good track record. But, again, I could be wrong. We have the futures markets trading. Dow, S&P, and NASDAQ 100 are all down 2 to 2.33%. Recall yesterday, it was pretty much the same picture. The futures were down across the board for the U.S. exchanges, but huge rally today. So anything could happen. But again, at the time of these podcasts, I like to keep the audience updated as what's taking place. Across the board in the red. We have the Japanese markets gaining 350 points, up 1.9%. Across the board in Europe, all in the green. But we have another reversal in Australia, down 247 points, almost down 5% in this trading session. So another roller coaster ride in the land down under. Despite the massive rally on Wall Street, the commodity market wasn't buying it. So who to believe again, right? Do you believe the stock market? Do you believe the commodity market? Or do you believe the bond market? Because the bond market wasn't buying this BS either. So we have WTI at $23 a barrel. We have Brent at $26.52 a barrel. Natural gas is at $1.80, pretty much unmoved. Gold is at $1,625 an ounce, and silver is at $14.52 an ounce. The dollar continues to get walloped. So quite the reversal from last week, where you basically had 3-year highs in the U.S. dollar. Now there's been a reversal through this week. So across the board, whether it's the euro, the British pound, the Aussie dollar, New Zealand kiwi, you go down the list, the dollar is weakening against them all. And then, of course, bonds, we have the U.S. 10-year Treasury note at 0.8%. Uncle Sam's bond market is not buying the rally on Wall Street, which it shouldn't. This is an opportunity, I think, at least what I'm going to be doing. Again, I don't give financial advice. I tell you what I do or what you want to look into, perhaps. Any type of these rallies, if you still have anything left, you might want to start taking some profits if you have them, or get some cash building up on the sidelines on these types of opportunities. Get some of that cash back and put it in your pocket, man. And put it in your pocket. Maybe look at precious metals. Do something, because it's a roller coaster ride. Because we have Boeing, which is trading like a penny stock. All right? It's gotten walloped. We know this. We've been discussing this. It was about $89 about a week ago. $89 per share. Remember, year and a half ago, whatever it was about a $400 a share stock. Might even have been a little bit higher than that. All the way down to $89, $90 a share last week. It's doubled. It has since doubled. A company that now has a market cap of, I think, a little bit over $100 billion. How does that happen? You can expect that with, penny stock, dollar stock, something that's $5, it goes to 10 over the course of a week. Maybe you see that happening. But with a company the size of Boeing, makes you wonder, doesn't it? What's going on in these markets? Makes it very difficult to invest in these markets. Now, if you're somebody who's a trader, this might be your heaven, especially if you're good. That's not what I do. I might do some swing trades here or there, but given what's going on here, I mean, there has been a lot of money lost and gained if you know how to play both sides of the coin. I mean, a ton of money could be made with this type of volatility, with these types of swings. I mean, this is history in the making. I hope you understand this. I've said this many times over, but I hope you really understand why I say it. Because we've never seen something like this before. This is history in the making. And typically, my belief is, and this is predicated on history, when you see this type of volatility, when you see these types of what I consider foreshocks, we're just setting up for the earthquake. I mean, despite the fact that we've had that huge drop of 30, 35%, I don't think we've seen anything yet. I don't. That's my personal belief. That's my analysis, and I'm sticking to it. Is it going to happen tomorrow? No. These things take time. It's a process. But I do believe there's a lot further to go. I mean, in some extreme cases, there's some analysts out there, and I honestly happen to be in agreement with them. And I'm going to have to do a video on this on gold and maybe even silver as well, just to give you a little bit more information on the gold and silver markets. But there are analysts out there who are making the argument that 1 ounce of gold is going to buy 1 share of the Dow Jones Industrial Average. So let me repeat that, because this is a profound statement. 1 ounce of gold could buy 1 share of the Dow Jones Industrial Average. So what that would mean is gold is most likely going to rally strongly, which we are an advocate of, a proponent of. Imagine that's going to take place. And the Dow Jones Industrial Average is going to continue its downward trajectory until they meet and intersect somewhere. And a lot of these analysts think it's going to be in the range of $5,000 to $8,000. So that would be $5,000 to $8,000 per ounce for 1 ounce of gold, and somewhere between 5,000 to 8,000 points for the Dow Jones Industrial Average. Me personally, I think that's doable. I think that's doable. And that's ridiculous because we have a Dow Jones Industrial Average that's at 22,000 right now. Remember, just a few days ago, it was what, 19, 18,000, something like that? So don't be surprised over the course of a year or so, however long it might take, for that to come to fruition. And I think that more and more, I think that's more of a probability, not just a possibility. So be prepared for that, because this has been a decade-plus bubble in the making, and to think that, we've just given back the first few years, to think that that's it, I think is just laughable. I just think it's completely laughable. They've been pulling this game for over a decade, and just to say, well, we're just going to give the last 3 years back, and that's it. I don't think so, Jack. I don't think so. So that's that. 96-0. No votes for America. No surprise here. We've been talking about this. We've been hopeful. We've been writing our letters to the White House, to our congressmen, to our senators. To no avail. But we'll keep doing it because that is our duty. For a peaceful revolution, leave your political party, ladies and gentlemen. Become an independent, become a libertarian, become a constitutionalist, become unaffiliated. I don't care. Just leave the Republican Democrat Party. They're gone. They're shot. They don't care. It's just words. It's just divide and conquer. Okay? I know that's a lot to take in for a lot of you, but believe me, it's the honest truth. Okay? You might not want to hear it too bad. I don't want to pay the bill. But guess what? We all are, aren't we? So stay diversified, stay vigilant, and stay with the Capital News. I'll catch you here next time. I am Alex Karitis. Godspeed.